Hi YouTube, Kate Johansson with Fast Pup Dog Training here. And I wanted to make this video today because the other day I saw a really cute video of a really cute little tiny dog who they were showing his performance at the Crufts International Dog Show in the agility, and he had won his division for the I believe it was under 8 inches, a little tiny black and white dog. He looked like he might be a Papillon, but I could be wrong on the breed. But just this cute little tiny dog. He was 12 years old, and he was just doing awesome. He was having so much fun on the agility routine, and I made the comment, I posted the video onto Facebook, and I made the comment, I'll bet you $10 that this little tiny dog is not pooping and peeing all over his owner's house. And the reason I said that is because I get calls all the time, usually about small dogs. The smaller the dog, and it's not always small dogs, because occasionally I get calls about bigger dogs that are doing this, but it seems like the smaller the dog, the less likely the dog is to get the kind of attention that they need, the kind of leadership that they need in order to not be pooping and peeing, and also aggression. So aggression, resource guarding and stuff like that. A lot of times the little tiny dogs just don't get socialized very well with other dogs or with people, and they spend a lot of time on their owner's laps, and they're not getting the leadership, the training that they need. And a lot of times people are using maybe even poop pads. And I know that there are people who have little dogs that need them for emotional support and whatever, and maybe they have disabilities. Maybe they are older and it's really a lot harder for them to kind of take the dogs out. Recently, I worked with a family that had adopted a dog. A rescue here in Washington had gone down to California and brought a load of dogs that were needing homes up, and this cute little dog was doing all of these things, pooping and peeing in the house, and he was showing aggression to their little boy, especially when he was sitting in mom's lap, but also when people approached his crate and so on and so forth. And so what I tell everybody that we need to do with any dog that's pooping and peeing in the house is we need to confine them to a smaller space. And a lot of times that would be a crate. If you're working from home, or you're working on a project or whatever, and you're having issues with the dog not pooping and peeing and not waiting to go outside, it's really important to put them in a crate when you can't watch them or when you're involved in other things. Also, you can take and make a pen, like an X pen or something, to create a smaller space than just the whole entire house that the dog can run around in. And they're a lot less likely to poop or pee in that smaller space because it's like their space, it's their size, and dogs are loath to mess up their own space. So that really helps. Now with the aggression, if the dog is doing that resource guarding thing where mom's got the dog in her lap and the dog is gurring and biting somebody that reaches out to pet them while the dog's in her lap, then she needs to not let the dog be in her lap. Just take that away until the training and leadership has kicked in to where we're actually doing some training. Get in her lap, get out of her lap, kind of like a place command. But that's going to come later. So initially, just to stop and keep everybody safe, just don't let the dog be in her lap. Now on the bed, a lot of times dogs will be really guarding their space. They don't want somebody coming up to their bed or to their crate, and they'll start growling or acting like they're going to bite. And again, we need to change that up. So we're not going to go in to their space and crowd them in the space where they are. We're going to ask them to come out. So I get these calls all the time, and the smaller the dog, the more likely they are to have problems. And I think it's because people just don't think of a little tiny dog under 8 inches as that Rottweiler or that Pit Bull or German Shepherd. With a bigger dog, we know from the time they're puppies that they need to be socialized, they need to be trained, they need to have obedience, they need to, just generally get along in the house and not poop and pee and all that stuff. But with little dogs, they kind of sometimes that part of it gets ignored. So if you have recently adopted a dog, or you've had the dog since it was a puppy and it's doing all this stuff, the latest one was a pug. Got a call, and the pug, female pug, 4 years old, pooping and peeing all over the house, chasing the cat into the corner and acting aggressive towards the cat. Again, these people, they just kind of didn't really have time. They had another pug that was like 9 years old, and he was initially raised by somebody else, and he came to their house with all these nice manners and things. But when they raised from a puppy, they just kind of let things slide from the very beginning and never, did put the pieces in place for the obedience, the ritual of going outside, the ritual of having your own little space, and not chasing the cat. So when dogs are doing things like that, another thing that's really important is just simple little obedience things, like you wait at the door. We're going to go outside. You're going to sit, and I'm going to go out the door, and then I'm going to invite you to come out. When we're out walking on the sidewalk, you need to walk nice without pulling the leash. And you need to quit looking for things to be aggressing about. You need to pay attention to your handler. And then we want to get them to where they can sit and stay, and we can leave their side, and then we can call them, and we have a really awesome recall. We don't have to have an international Crufts agility champion dog to have a dog that we can get along with in the house. But the more things that we can involve the dog in, fun things as well as obedience, the better the chances are that the dog's going to be respectful around the house. So try that, and let me know if you have any questions.